Welcome to episode 46 of Military Veterans Podcast, where we talk to veterans to learn about their stories and experiences. And today we're joined by Stu Hale. Hey, Stu.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good.
Yeah, I like the tip of the hat there, just for people that might be listening and not watching. So, how are you doing today?
Good, mate. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Nice Saturday.
Nice Saturday.
Chill. Yeah.
It is a Saturday we're recording. And we're actually recording in a cadet unit, a detachment, which is pretty cool. So if you are not watching this on YouTube, might be cool to jump over there. We've got some interesting things in the background, mainly weapons. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, Stu, thank you very much for inviting me up to this part of the country to meet with you and have a discussion about your time in the military. We've got 4 questions as always to start the show off. I'll give you those one at a time, and then we'll dive into the main part of the show. How does that sound?
Sounds good, yeah.
Cool. All right, so first question is, when did you join?
The very, very start, I initially joined in July 98.
July 98?
Yeah.
Cool. The second one is, what service and branch did you join?
I initially joined the Marines, but then ended up Para-Reg for all of my career. Mostly sort of snipers for the first half, and then J2 for the second half.
All right.
J2 being intelligence for people that aren't familiar with the jargon.
It is worth saying for sure.
Just in case.
Yeah, just in case. British Army Parachute Regiment. So we'll hear that journey for sure. And then how long did you serve for?
All up, 17 years.
17 years, yeah.
17 years.
And then lastly, what rank did you get to?
Sergeant.
Awesome. So, because you were in Parachute Regiment, I'm wearing the maroon top here.
In support. It's solidarity.
Support. Got my Military Veteran podcast available on the website, by the way. A little plug there. Cool. Well, Stu, let's rewind the clock. Where were you born and where did you grow up?
I was born in a small town in Bristol called Patchway. In northeast Bristol. And I just grew up in Patchway. So a little suburban area. It was quite unremarkable, really, growing up. And I didn't mean that in a negative way.
Okay.
But later on when I joined the military and I noticed that there were quite a few guys that came from some pretty torrid backgrounds who struggled, to get where they wanted to go and had a real tough start in life, broken homes and abusive families and things like that. But, I had none of that. I had a solid upbringing, mum and dad still together,
Didn't move around. You just was you in the same house?
No, same place pretty much. Most of my life, pretty much. Yeah, and I grew up with my younger cousins and my brother, and it was a good, strong family unit.
Okay. And how was you at school? Did you enjoy that?
I hated it. I hated it. Yeah. And I just, as soon as I knew I didn't need grades to get in, it was like, well, just coast it now. Don't really care. I thought why would I need to know religious studies? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When's that ever going to kick in?
Okay.
When am I ever going to need maths or art and everything? And all of these subjects,
I
had to get beasted on in snipers and in J2 and everything, and I sort of kicked myself after a while thinking, I wish I'd paid attention.
Did you have an interest in like the sports side or PT?
I was never sporty, but then our school never really had a football team or a rugby team or anything like that. I think I might have liked rugby if it was played, but there was I wasn't really sporty.
Right.
I followed boxing, but
no. Okay.
Not really.
And then you mentioned about once you realised you didn't need grades to get in. What's that kind of looking like with getting enticed to join? Did you have people in your family that had been in the military?
Well, my uncle was in the Royal Navy. He was on HMS Glamorgan in the Falklands War.
Okay.
I had a granddad who did his national service. I had an uncle who was in the Gloucesters who got shot in Northern Ireland. So there's been a steady drumbeat of a family background in the military, and obviously grandfathers and stuff. When I started doing Ancestry, I found out a lot more about my great-grandfather and what he did, and he was in Gallipoli and all that stuff. So loads of interesting stuff,
Yeah.
But that wasn't at the forefront of my mind. For me, it was a case of, I don't know. I just, my dad left an SAS book lying around. It was called Nemesis File, I think, by a guy called Paul Bruce or something. And I just picked it up because I went through a phase when I was younger of just reading stuff. I just read everything. Mega into Stephen King and all that. And I remember my dad just left this book lying around. I read it and I was like, wow, this is amazing. And that was it then.
That caught your
I
imagination.
was about 14 and that was it.
Right.
I knew what I wanted then.
Yeah. And what did you want? What was in your mind?
It was all the books. It was a spate of books around that time. Just before the Andy McNabb and during that sort of Andy McNabb era where you had them. They joined up generally in the paras. They often came from a broken home. They fought in the Falklands War and then they joined the SAS. And it was like that sort of pattern and they were all fairly similar. And it was, and I just lapped it up really. And there was a group of us in school who all sort of were into it. And we all joined cadets together and everything. And
okay. So you did do a bit of cadets and...
Yeah, I did when I was younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't into it until I read that book, and I was like, right, okay, if I'm going to join the military, I might as well go to the cadets. And as soon as I went to the cadets initially, it was like, it was a sense of feeling of coming home.
Okay.
I thought, I feel like I've been here before, and it just felt right. Mm-hmm. And that was it. And I was just obsessed. I didn't consider any other sort of career. It was the military or nothing.
Yeah. Mm. So what age were you thinking, I'm going to join then? So because some people like to think, well, if I join at 18, if I join as an adult, then I can do a bit of civvy life first. But did you have a mindset of I finish school?
I wish I'd thought that like that. I signed on as soon as I could. As soon as it was 15 and 9 months, I enlisted. And at the time I joined, there was no junior para. That had stopped. And Harrogate had just sort of starting again. And that didn't interest me because it had college in the title.
Okay.
Army Foundation College. I don't want to go to college.
Yeah.
Not knowing that it was basically a long phase one for 16-year-olds. And I was just like, no, I just want to go, I want to go straight in. So that just left the Marines, really, because they still had naval terms of enlistment. So you could sign on for the Marines when you're 15 and 9 months. So I was like, right, I can't wait to get in, I'll get in. And I signed up as soon as I could.
Did you know what Marines did? Did you know much about them?
I just fully nerded out on all of it because...
Okay. Yeah.
Paras would have been the first choice, but I wasn't old enough. And Marines were like, for me, a similar thing to the Paras. It's always been, they've always been up there. The Marines, the Paras, outside of Special Forces, they were the cream, and it was going to be those.
Okay. So you went into, I'm guessing, a careers office, did you, to sign on the dotted line?
Yeah, the Naval Careers Office, yeah.
Okay. So was it like a separate one to the Army? Or was it like a combined?
There's sort of like one's upstairs, one's downstairs.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then did they know that you had an insight into joining the actual paras, or didn't tell them that part?
No, I just whatever. I told them what they wanted to hear to get in. It was simple as that, I just wanted to. Yeah, I just couldn't wait to get in.
Okay,
that's why.
And what's that process like? So people that might be thinking of actually joining the Marines, you go into the careers office and say, I want to join up. And do you have to do any like tests or anything?
Yeah, it's you do. I think it was called PRC, Potential Recruits Course, or PRMC. They changed it to. I can't quite remember, but you basically go for a weekend and get thrashed for a bit.
Make sure you.
And they have a look at you. You have a look at them. That type sketch. You do some bottom field stuff, and I think the Paras do something similar. They used to anyway. It was called the PRAC. Parachute Regiment Aptitude Course. I think, I can't quite remember now.
Yeah.
This has all probably changed, but they used to, and they had something similar. So it was all the same. You go there for a weekend, get an initial look so that you weren't wasting their time, they weren't wasting yours, and then you join up and
fair enough.
The fun begins.
So you were fit enough, you signed on, and then you went to like basic equivalent, I suppose?
Yeah, basic training, CTCRM.
And how did you find that? Was it what you thought it was as you've been hyping it up?
Yeah, it was a culture shock because I'd been in the cadet, so I knew some of the basics. So I knew I'd have a little bit of a head start on map reading. I knew I'd have a little bit of a head start on the skill of arms and all that sort of stuff. So the subjects I knew a little bit about. So I thought, but it's just being thrust into a man's world at 16, and and you're in the showers with all these big airy ass blokes, and you're just like, fuck, it's the first time I've been away from home apart from like a kids camp or some shit, and it's just, it's really, it's a real eye-opener.
Did you think, shit, I shouldn't be here? Or did you think...
No, I thought I'm just going to see this through to the end no matter what.
Okay.
And
Yeah. How long can you remember how long your Marines
Well, it's
bases?
30 weeks, but you spend longer because everyone
Really?
picks up an injury. And
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did.
And did you find any particular part of the training like really interesting or really difficult?
No, there's certainly some parallels you can draw with the way the Marines do things and the way the Paras do things. And I can say, like, you get a lot of people from the core backgrounds, you know, like yourself, who might have gone to do P Company, pre-para selection as part of their role, and then do the Commando course as well, you know, and they've done both sides.
Okay.
But you don't get that many people that go through para-reg basic training, start to finish, Royal Marine training, start to finish. But I did that. So there's certainly some comparisons I can draw on there. But yeah, it was quite a shocker.
Yeah.
Yeah, in my mind, because I was so young, so immature. I should have left it a couple of years, gone to college, piss-assed about, smoked some weed, fucked about, and then gone in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I should have done like most normal kids do. But no, I was chomping at the bits to get in, you know? And yeah, it's just crawling up and down the estuary, getting your arms cut to ribbons on broken shelves, covered in mud, thinking, fucking hell.
Yeah.
While all your mates are in college,
Yeah.
having the time of their lives. Yeah.
So you made it to the end of Marines training,
I did. It's a long story, but basically, I did get injured in the process. So I stayed. I had a lot of time in Hunter Company, or Hunter Troop as it was. They changed it to Hunter Company, and they changed the syllabus around. I got up to the Commando tests, and I didn't break my ankle, but I did something. I can't remember what it was. And then I was back trooped into Hunter Company. Then they changed the syllabus around, and then I went back into another troop. And then we had to do final X again and field firing before doing the Commando tests. And
Okay.
and so there's the other way around. So you did the Commando test last and I got injured. Then they did the Commando test first. So basically I got to a stage where I did everything, but I stayed in a troop to then pass out with them. And I had to do final X again and field firing. And it's just this weird thing where I just felt like I was getting seen off out of recruit troops. Like they'd say, for instance, we were doing our live firing exercise. We're doing individual pairs fire maneuver, and me and this lad we were told, right, you're on a sticky wicket. If you get this wrong, you're going to get back squadded again, back trooped.
Okay.
All right, so we did this fire maneuver lane, and it was absolutely brilliant. It was perfect. You know, we were changing mags on the move. If we had a stoppage, one would drop, the other would cover, and it just went really well. It was hard, it was aggressive, short bounds. It was brilliant. And we finished it, and I was beaming. I had a massive grin on my face. I thought, yeah, we nailed it. And then the instructor stood there, and he listed off all these points that we'd fucked up on, none of which were true. And then we got back trooped. Oh. And I just thought, fuck off. Like, it didn't even matter what we did.
Right.
You know? So it was like they'd already made up their mind who they were going to pass out and who they weren't, regardless of performance.
Yeah.
And that's really deflated me. And I thought, fuck this lot. I'd had enough by then. I'd been in Marine Depot then for like a year and a half.
Really? Wow.
And because I was under 18, I couldn't go home on the weekend. I couldn't stay out overnight past midnight. They called you Cinderellas because you had to be back by midnight. You know, so apart from annual leave, you had fuck all.
Yeah.
And it just got so fucking depressing.
Yeah.
And in the end, I got caught forging ID cards to say I was 19 in the company clerk's office, and I got caught coming back ashore.
Okay.
They say come back ashore, that means come back into camp.
Okay.
Even though they're not at sea. They still use that terminology for some reason.
Navy fear, isn't it?
Yeah. And I came in and I got caught out, and it was like, right, that's it. And then I was put on OC's warning for discharge and all that sort of shit. But at that stage, I was like, I've done everything. I was like, fuck it. I don't even want to fucking know. If you're going to pass out people that weren't that good and bin me, I don't want to know.
Okay.
And I'd had enough, really. And they said, go home, come back in 2 years, and you'll be ready.
Really? Wow, okay.
So I went home, and I was like, I can't wait 2 years, so I've got to get back in. But I was old enough to join the Paras then. So you were 17 and 9 months, and then I was like, yeah, I'll do that.
Right. So at that point, you technically left the military, and then you had to rejoin, essentially. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
is that back down the careers office to the army part?
I finished in the careers office, literally went downstairs straight into the army.
Right.
And I had a chat with them there. And one guy was trying to sell me on RGBW, saying, oh, you wouldn't have to do basic training, you'll get straight in, and we'll have you, you could be on ops, be on our next Ireland tour. I was like, all right, yeah. I went and spoke to the next guy, and it was a Corps guy, and he said, look, you can get this trade with us. You wouldn't have to do phase 1, because you've done all that before. It'd be all right, yeah. And then the last guy was this grumpy old major in the paras, and he was like, yeah, you probably wouldn't make it anyway. And I was like, oh, all right then. And then I was like, yeah, got to be para reg, innit?
Okay.
And it was always going to be. It was going to be para reg or Marines.
Yeah.
Because that was going to be a stepping stone for Hereford.
Okay.
Or my aspirations.
Yeah. So, yeah, what does that look like? Did you have to go and do phase 1 again, or?
Yeah, start from the start.
Start from the start because it's paras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there was word of maybe skipping some of it, but it was after the first initial 2 weeks, and I was like, no, I felt settled. I'll stay with.
Okay. Yeah.
Stay with the recruit troop, recruit platoon, as it was then. Yeah.
And how did you feel being there? Because obviously you were now pissed off with the Marines.
Yeah.
Did you feel a little bit more welcomed because no?
Right. So when I joined the Marines are weird, man. Like when you pass out with the Marines, like the moment you pass out, like they forget everything and they're like, you're one of them. That's it. You're in the club. Your best mate. Your first name terms with sergeants and colour sergeants and shit. In para reg, you're not even on first name terms with the senior Tom for fucking 5 years. Right. For a long time.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It takes you a long time to earn respect. Where the Marines is just instant. It's like, hey, yeah, welcome to the club. Okay. And it just don't sit right.
Okay.
And there was a guy when I initially joined the Marines. There was a guy who'd been in the paras and got as far as P Company, but got injured on P Company. And the instructors in the Marines treated him with a bit of respect. He still had to do everything we did. He wasn't given special treatment in that sense, but they spoke to him almost like a peer and entrusted him with some stuff. And, it was like he had a good attitude towards him. And so I thought, okay, well, the reverse is going to be true, isn't it? When I joined the paras. And it wasn't. It wasn't. Like day 1, week 1, where you stand up in your underwear to get measured up for your uniform. And they saw my blood group tattoo. And they're like, oh, where'd you get that? And before it even left my lips, I'd been punched in the stomach.
Oh, no.
And I was like, whoa, this is different.
It's different, yeah.
Yeah. Like the Marines, thrash you and hammer you and stuff, but it's more of a head fuck. They're like, you'll fuck up in the day and you think nothing of it, and then you'll be up at 3 o'clock in the morning doing regains over the tank. They mess with your head.
Yeah.
But they won't touch you. They won't physically touch you. Whereas paras, it's just give you a fucking kick in if you
physical.
Fuck up, very physical. And that was shocking. I was like, well,
so another type of shock.
Yeah, it was different. It was different. They both beast you, but they both get similar results at the end of training, but they just different methods.
Different ways of going about it.
One's more, the Marines really harp on about the professionalism side of it, and para reg is all about hard, fast aggression. And I suppose that reflects the battlefield roles.
Yeah.
Both roles you have to be self-sufficient and independent, behind enemy lines, essentially. But one is a bit more sneaky beaky, commando orientated, and one is, right, you've dropped in the middle of nowhere, you've fucking got to go for it because you ain't got long.
Yeah. So how long is para?
I think it's 2 weeks short of Marine time, so 28 weeks and
28
stuff.
Weeks, okay. And as you've done what you've done in the Marines, did you find anything maybe not easier, but you knew what was coming?
Yeah, you knew what was coming.
Yeah.
Little things like cleaning the underside of your trainers in your locker, because they're going to check that. Loads. It was a bit easier to out with the instructors when you knew stuff.
Okay.
But if you did get caught out, then you'd get it.
And did they have because of the background, did they look at you in a different way? Like, did they expect more from you?
A little bit. But because I was in the Marines, I got singled out for special punishment as well.
Okay.
So it went against me.
Okay.
It went against me, yeah.
But you knew that you didn't want to leave. You knew that was...
Oh, no, it was it. It was it from the start.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't ever going to do anything else.
Okay, cool. So you complete training.
Yeah.
And where do you go after the initial training? Do you go off and do specialised stuff, or do you go straight
not really.
to unit?
It's you have phase 1 and phase 2 are both infantry based.
Okay.
It's all in Cadre now, but it was when I did it. One half was in Purbright and one half was in Cadre.
Okay. Yeah. Did you enjoy phase 2?
Yeah, I did.
Because I'm guessing
I enjoyed all of it really, despite getting singled out. Yeah, and the Marines did help, but There's some weird experiences though. In the Marines, we had a recruit die in training. That was one that stood out for me, really. And being young, I didn't quite understand. I sort of thought, oh, this just happens. You know, we've got to crack on. We can't dwell on it. It didn't bother me. Some of the recruits, it sort of really affected them.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was weird. And then in Para-Reds, when we went from phase 1 to phase 2, as we drove into camp, there was like police cordon signs everywhere because someone had killed themselves, shot themselves in the head, committed suicide, and it was like, oh right, okay, this is phase 2.
Right,
it's good.
Yeah, welcome to
Cadre. Yeah.
welcome to that area. So where do you go? Where is your first location? Where is your first
Colchester.
Colchester.
Yeah,
okay.
I was first based with 3 Para.
3 Para.
We went to Colchester, and we were lucky really because we'd gone from 3 Para in Dover, 2 and 1 Para in Aldershot, and then everything sort of got mixed around when we changed roles to go to Colchester, and 3 Para and 2 Para went to Colchester, and 1 Para then went to Dover.
Okay.
So in that switch around, I got to Battalion. So I kind of snuck in without anyone noticing me being a new guy.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you still did, but it was less obvious.
Okay.
You know, you sort of sneak in.
And you mentioned about 5 years or so to get a bit of respect.
And it's
So-
not 5 years. It's a few years, or
It's
an
a few
operational tour or something. You know,
Yeah.
it's basically once you've been in long enough to get a Reg tat,
Okay.
which you need the permission of the senior Tom.
Really?
And it's normally 2 years, I think 2 years or a year, or an operational tour. Once you've got that, then you'll be allowed to get a regimental tattoo. You get your brand, and then that's it.
Okay. Now, for anybody listening, like civvies or whatever, you said senior Tom.
Yeah,
So
it's your senior private soldier.
senior private
Yeah,
soldier.
Tom's a private. Yeah.
So why do you need permission from that person and not like the lance corporal or corporal?
Because the senior Toms run the platoon, really.
Right. Okay.
You know, it's not a corporal's job to do that.
Yeah.
You know, it's the unwritten rules in the barracks type thing. You know.
That's cool. Did you go away on exercise pretty quick or go away on
we
tour
went
pretty
straight.
quick?
The first thing we did was exercise Green Talon, which was a battalion jump, and yeah, that was a nightmare.
Okay.
Yeah, because you do P Company.
And P Company is the Pegasus
Yeah, all the events. The
jumping out of the plane?
no,
No?
it's the fitness.
Oh, that's the
one.
jumps,
It's the
isn't it?
fitness stuff. Yeah.
Oh, the fitness stuff. Okay, go on. Yeah.
Yeah, like the 10-miler, the 2-miler, the milling, the log race, the stretcher race, all those events.
Okay.
Once you pass all of those, then you get your berry after that, and then you get your wings after you do jumps course.
Okay. And had you done your jumps course by the time you got to your first
No,
unit?
you do peak. Oh yeah. Did
You
the
had.
jumps. Some people never later on.
Right. Okay.
And they got dubbed penguins because they were birds that can fly,
Okay.
and they got ripped for that, but it wasn't their fault.
So before you talk about the exercise going away, how did you find the jumps course? Because you read about it.
Oh, it's fun. Jumps were. Well, the thing is, like, apart from the fear of jumping out of the plane, like the pace, the intensity of training goes right down. Because I remember the first time we'd fucked up, we were late for something, and the PGIs, the RAF instructors, were like, right, that's it. You're 5 minutes late. 5 minutes late. I've got no choice but to do this now. Right, get down and give me 10. And we were all like, what? All right. And, you know, expecting, you know, to be crawling around fucking dumpster trucks and shit, you know, and getting beasted. And then, yeah, their idea of thrashing was very different to ours. Like, the worst punishment you got was you'd have to bring in some biscuits for the staff the next day or something. And it was like, this is so easy.
Yeah.
So we ended up getting basically blind drunk and...
Okay. And that
Most
helped you
nights
jump out of the planes, right?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, later on, I did some jumps in some right states where I was so drunk the night before, I only sort of became conscious once my canopy opened. And I'd be like, whoa, how did I get here?
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so Bryce was just a totally change of pace.
Okay.
It was just good fun, really. Apart from being scared to death of fucking... I hated heights, you know. I hated flying in planes. So I just bricking out on my first jump. I was the first man in the door and everything, and I shit myself, you know. And I jumped out, and I was just all whimpery in the air. It wasn't a good clean exit. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 check fan up. It was like, it was absolute baggage. And then my night jump, there's this big circular sand pit in Bryce Norton, which the pilots use as a navigational aid to fly in on during night flying. and I thought that was a parachute. Now, when you parachute, if your parachute is above someone else's, they can steal your air, so you get an air steal. So your parachute would deflate, you'll drop below them, and basically you almost fire maneuver till one of you hits the ground really hard. And so I thought that was a parachute below me, and I was screaming my head off at this parachute to steer away below me, and it was a fucking sandpit. Oh. And then as soon as I got closer, one of the RAF guys with a megaphone shouted, "It's a fucking sandpit, you idiot!" And everybody else who had jumped lined up at the coaches were pissing themselves laughing. And I thought, fuck. And then that was it. Then every day people saw me, they were like, "Steer away!"
Steer away.
Obviously, with my mega deep voice.
What, steer away, Stu?
Steer away. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good. For others. It's good for others.
Yeah, it was amusing, I suppose.
So then you mentioned about the exercise, and you said it's a bit of a nightmare. So
yeah, because the way the parachutes work is you have like an all-up weight for the parachute. So the smaller and lighter you are, the more kit gets divvied out to you. And so I had I can't remember, did I have a mortar base plate or something? My Bergen was just a fucking total abortion of a thing, strapped to my legs. And I was the last man out with the last chalk or the last stick of the whole battalion. And I couldn't even get to the door because I couldn't move quick enough. I couldn't waddle down the plane quick enough to get out.
For all the weight.
So they dispatched like everybody on one run, and then the plane went around one last time just for me after the whole battalion had jumped out.
All right.
And what you're meant to do then is RV on the DZ and then redistribute the kit so everyone's got what they need and it's all fairly thing. But, I didn't. I hit the ground and carried that fucking thing all the way along the exercise. Utterly licked.
Is that because you're smaller than everybody? Or?
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
okay.
So you carry more shit.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Okay. And so how long are you at that? Do you stay at the same... you call it regiment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you stay at the same regiment
same
for your
battalion?
Same battalion. Oh, battalion. Sorry.
Mostly, you'll switch when you get promoted to Lieutenant Jack or Corporal. You'll switch around from companies, and sometimes when you get promoted to senior ranks, you'll switch battalions.
Right. So you were with that battalion forever, or
up to 2009.
2009.
And then we moved back southwest, and so I went to one para, which was in St Athens.
Right.
So from 2009 onwards, I was in South Wales.
Okay. So before we talk about that, what year was it that you actually joined the paras after leaving the Marines?
Enlisted in December 99, I think.
Yeah.
We started basic training. I remember the first intake in the year 2000. So it was like 6th of January 2000. Was
right. Okay. So you got 9 years with that battalion. So
pretty much.
Where'd you go after that exercise? Do you actually get deployed somewhere?
No, it was just Ireland then. So we were on the building up to Ireland. I think Kosovo happened about that time as well, but it fell to the other battalions. And everybody hated the CO because it was like, you didn't want us to get, because you're chomping at the bits to go to war.
Yeah.
Like everyone just really wanted to do it. And every time something come up, it'd be like, no, we're doing Ireland.
Right. So you did a few tours.
I think there was a saying about the CO at the time, fuck the war, we're NIBAT 4. That was it. So whenever anything came up, it was like he just wanted to do Ireland because it's better for his career, sort of thing. Right. That was the rumour.
Okay.
Might not be true, but
So how many tours did you do over in North Ireland?
We only did 2.
Did 2.
And the last one,
6
months?
Wasn't
a 6-month commitment, but we weren't all out there for the whole 6 months.
Okay.
Because everything was drawing down. Ireland was really winding back.
Yeah. Anything happen out there whilst you were out there? Any stand-up moments?
Nah, not really. The second one we did in 2005, the riots were particularly punchy. And C Company got absolutely battered. And they even got inside the snatch wagons and everything. And we were well within our rights to open fire, but nobody did. And we got praised. The old heroic restraint thing where we got praised for not, pulling the trigger when we certainly could have done. Because it would have wound the peace process back loads.
Yeah.
And it was weird because all the old school convicted provisional IRA members were trying to make sure it all went off without a hitch. So they were sort of helping us out, weirdly enough, guiding the riots and that, so that it didn't. It was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird vibe whilst you're out there.
It was weird, yeah.
And then
I was doing J2 for that. Because we were snipers, because we didn't have a role as snipers in Ireland, so they just made the sniper platoon the int cell.
Okay.
And so that was the first time I did int stuff, which I quite enjoyed it.
Right. So
the time.
gaining intelligence for the what's on the
working
ground
in the
and-
intelligence cell, basically.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So you mentioned sniper.
Mm-hmm.
So when did you do your sniper's course?
That was 2004.
2004.
So that was after Iraq as well.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So if we're 2000 now, hang on, get my list down. I had to write it down because
That's fine. That's fine.
my memory's shot.
So yeah, let's go for the beginning part. So you
Yeah. So we had the Ireland tour in 01
in 2001
Yeah.
Northern Ireland. Yeah.
in the Ballykelly, I think that was. And I think the next sort of big thing, the next thing I noticed, we do a thing called a McKay VC Tournament, which is in memory of Sergeant Ian McKay from the Falklands. And I remember we did that, and it was horrible because I remember doing P Company, and the instructor saying you'll do harder stuff at Battalion. So,
Okay.
Just remember, Joe, this isn't as hard as it'll get. And we remember thinking at the time, all right, fucking hell, P Company's a beast, But no, the McKay VC was horrendous.
What did you do?
It was like a 10-mile tab timed, but every 2 mile there was a stand, and you had to do this stand. And one of the stands was we had to pull a ferret armoured car in NBC dress Cat 4 Romeo. So full NBC kit, we had to drag this fucking ferret, this armoured recce vehicle. And we got one guy in there steering it while we all pulled it.
How many of you put in it?
Oh, I can't remember, man.
Like 8?
Oh,
10?
it was fucking horrible, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was midsummer as well.
Okay.
It's fucking horrendous. And and he left the handbrake on.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. Whatever. I can't remember. I remember something like that.
Fucking
And then
hell.
there was like a river crossing, and then another one was I can't remember. Loads of different stands.
Loads of
But
stands.
It was killer. It
Okay.
was killer. And it's like an inter-platoon competition. And it was the first time the Guards platoon had come back. And so the Guards platoon was our 6th platoon, and they were made up of a lot of guys from across the Guards division. And so because they're pulled from the whole division, they're all quite good standard, and they were going to win it. And we were basically told, look, it better be a fucking Power Edge platoon that wins this. We can't have fucking Guards coming in and winning. Can't let the fucking hats win, right? So we got to fucking do it. And I remember we won. 3 platoon won.
Oh, good.
And
Good.
it was just, I was absolutely hanging out.
Yeah.
They'd march and shoot at the end where we were sprinting and firing. I was just ball bagged. But we won, and the Guards came second. And, but that was good. I remember that. I remember thinking, fucking hell, yeah, Battalion is a lot tougher than P Company.
Yeah.
It's horrendous. Yeah.
So yeah, what's next?
Yes,
in
next
time-
on the
time frame?
agenda would be, we went on an exchange trip with 101st Airborne in
Oh, the US.
Fort Campbell, yeah. That
Okay.
was really good.
Yeah.
I loved that, yeah.
So what happens on these exchanges? You go over to America?
We go over there, and a platoon of them come over to us, basically.
Okay.
And we just had a great time, really, doing the American training in their CQB killing houses, which was really good quality, just getting on the piss with them. Just everything was just great. And they came over and got beasted in Brecon for a week. So
Right. And just a week, is that?
No. I think it was longer. I think it might have been 3 weeks to a month.
Yeah. Let's call it a month. That sounds good.
Yeah, it was good though. It was great fun.
Did they do anything different?
It's just they just run around firing from the hip like fucking nutcases. Like there's stuff they do where you're like, no fucking way would you do that in reality. And there's a lot of getting the rounds down and not really get no conservation of ammunition on exercise or anything like that. It's just
Yeah.
if it makes a loud noise your end of the rifle, then it comforts you. Then that's great.
Yeah. I just remember something a Yank said to me whilst out in Iraq one time, and he was like, "Hey man, do you know many paras?" And I was like, "Yeah. Didn't know a few. Why? They're fucking mental, man. Like, why? It's just fucking nutcases." I remember he was having. I'll stop doing the American accent.
Yeah.
I remember he was having an argument with one of my guys. Your para guy got so pissed off he headbutted him, but my guy was wearing a helmet and he still put him on the floor. So yeah, you guys have got like I don't know, they view you in a different way.
Yeah. But they think it's weird as well that our commando course is at the same level as our pre-parachute selection.
Yeah.
But I say, it's P Company's no joke. It's
no.
not. It's not like normal basic training for the army, but you jump.
No,
There's
it's
more to
higher.
it. There's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah.
The jumping's the fucking easy bit.
Yeah.
I see guys dispatched unconscious. Any idiot can do it.
Yeah.
You do literally just fall out of the plane. You can't steer yourself or anything. Not really. They tell you that to make you feel better, but no.
Fair. So that's a good experience for you.
That was brilliant, yeah. And they just the way they can just sign out a fucking helicopter, like we can sign out a Land Rover. Do you know what I
Really?
mean? And just fuck off on the training area. And their training area is like the size of Wales.
Bloody hell.
It's nuts. It's nuts, man. We were up doing just flying in a Black Hawk doing some sort of air assault thing. And the pilot sort of called out the back because it was really fucking hot. Because it's Tennessee, it's like secondary jungle, you know, it's really hot. The guy shouted out the back to open one of the windows. And the guy next to me, one of my best mates, he just turned around, he just grabbed the nearest handle and fucking jettisoned the whole door. And the guy was like, what the fuck? And then we had to, the whole of the next day, we were in extended line going through this forestry block looking for this jettisoned door. Yeah. Fucking brilliant.
Good times.
Yeah, it was great.
So next thing on your list, what's after that?
What Fresco was after that, I think.
Oh yeah, the old
the Green Goddesses.
Fireman Strike.
Yeah, that was all right. It's a change of pace, which was nice, but it was we were building up for Iraq, so we were a bit resentful that we had to do shit like that.
Okay.
When we should be fucking getting ready to go to war.
Did you drive a vehicle? What was your role?
No, we had no, we didn't.
Nothing good.
No,
just sat there.
nothing good. It was pretty rubbish. I remember they had like these high risers that the normal fire brigade use, where they plug their, I know the terminology is probably
like
different. Their hose into the bottom of the building, and then it does the water to the top, and then they can reconnect it at the top.
Okay.
Or whatever, but we didn't know how any of that worked. So there was a fire we got called out to on the top of this office block, and we fucking ran up these flights of stairs with this hose, fucking hanging out of our asses. Got to the top, and it was burnt toast. And we were like, fuck. And it just got auto sent to the, because the alarm went off, it automatically triggered the
Shit, yeah.
fire brigade, ergo us. And I remember that. I remember being fucking super pissed off because of that.
Yeah.
That's it, really.
So no like big fires or anything you had to put out?
No, nothing really. An old lady had a chimney fire. We went in there and basically destroyed her home to sort out this chimney fire. There was fucking soot everywhere. And she all brought us out a cup of tea and that. And she thanked us and everything as we left and everything, and thanked us for our service and all that shit after we destroyed her house. And we were like, that's okay. We tried to help her, like, tidy up and that, and she was like, nah, it's all right, boys, you go on.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it.
That's an experience that not many people will have, though.
No, I'm glad we did it, because it sort of made us realise. A friend of mine in Two-Para had to do that whilst in South Armagh in Ireland. So they had to cover the fireman strikes in Northern Ireland.
Okay,
so that brought with it its own set of challenges, I'm sure.
I bet, yeah.
Yeah.
Then is it Iraq next?
Iraq's next, yeah.
Yeah. So
2003.
what's your mindset there? Because that's going to be a different mindset to go into Northern Ireland.
Yeah. And this was going to be our war. This was our generation's war. We thought it was going to be, so we were all raring to go. And it wasn't.
No.
It was a bit of a disappointment. It was a bit of a damp squib.
You went over to Q8 first, did you?
Yeah, Q8 for quite a while, doing NavXs and training and everything. And I remember during my pre-deployment leave before we deployed, obviously, I was just beasting myself doing hill reps and tabs and stuff. And so by the time we got to Q8, I was fit as a fiddle. I think it was the fittest I've ever been. And we were doing like 10 milers in the sand. And I was sort of running up down the line with 2 GPMGs and that, and I just so fit, so strong. I was loving it. Because that's all I did. I just trained all the time because, I wanted to be ready for it.
So what was it like going over? Get that call and then...
Well, it was like we ended up going over to Q8 for a while, getting all the pre-deployment training done, having to mask up constantly.
Respirators?
Respirators, yeah. And the old gas shit. And having to... I remember we were all playing Risk in our boxer shorts with gas masks on. There was a photo somewhere. Because the gas call got called so much, you just constantly had the gas masks on.
Yeah.
Whether it was to train to see, we could do it in time, or whether it was people just piss-assing about, I don't know. And that was it. And then the liberation of Iraq, we were all on the back of 4-tonners, like some sort of weird-ass fucking safari with the sides down.
Oh, right, the canopies off.
Yeah, and every now and again jump off digging in, and then moving our trenches like 10 metres forward, digging in again, and then jumping back in, and yeah.
So quite a boring
It was, yeah.
No contact? Or?
No, we had some mortar fire getting called in. There was like an Iraqi foo driving along, getting out with his binos, spotting where we were, driving off, and then we'd get bracketed slowly.
Okay.
And I think a dud round landed right in the middle of one of the O groups.
Really?
And they were like, right, we've got to do something about this fucker. So they put out an ambush.
Okay.
And they brassed him up. Killed the driver of the motorbike, and the actual foo got shot up, and the medic treated him, and they passed him down through interrogation and stuff. And they found maps on him and everything of our positions. And
wow, okay.
He had like a big set of binoculars, but they were like, you know, you used to get in the seaside where you put a fucking 20p in, or probably a pound nowadays.
Yeah.
And you get to fucking look. It's like almost like those like big Acme fucking where your eyelids flit at the end, like massive fucking binos.
Right, bloody hell.
Huge binos, yeah. But that was it. That was the main standout bit during that phase. And then we had like a second part of that tour, which was like the peace phase. Once the Americans got into Baghdad and the war was over, you know, we didn't know what was coming. The whole Iraqi insurgent, the whole Shia insurgency thing that was later on down the chain, all the insurgents backed by Iran. So we didn't know that was coming. It was just a case of just demolishing the Iraqi army every time you met it. And it just didn't feel fair, you know. They stood no chance whatsoever. And it didn't feel right.
Okay.
You know. Yeah, the only sort of standout things there was Andy Kelly shooting himself, one of the Toms, I think, in one platoon. We were all cleaning our weapons in a big hangar. And I don't know how he managed to do it, but he managed to put his rifle together and ND at the same time, shot himself in the groin, and it cut a femoral artery and bounced off his hip bone and cut a valve to his heart, and he just bled out in less than a minute, screaming. Yeah. Wow. That's what I remember from that. And somehow, even though it was like the middle of the desert, we managed to procure a TV and a DVD player and season 13 of Friends. And that just got played on loop.
Okay.
And I remember when he shot himself, it was the opening theme tune.
Oh, fuck.
And it's just so dark, you know, because it's so upbeat.
Yeah.
And it was, Yeah, and that was that. And then I met his mum years later in a service station, and she was crying her eyes out, hugging me and shit. And I just didn't feel good.
Yeah, yeah.
He was a fucking idiot with his fucking weapon handling, you know. Yeah. And that was the main thing there. And
that was Iraq.
Yeah, that was Iraq.
How long was you out there for?
It was meant to be 6 months, but we were back after 4.
Okay.
It got cut early.
Cut short, yeah,
because the war fighting bit got done. And everybody couldn't wait to go home, and I wanted to stay out there. I was gutted. I remember when they announced that we were flying home like 3 weeks later, everyone cheered, and I was just like, we haven't done anything yet. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not happened yet. And I just remember being so disappointed.
Okay.
Yeah, but then that would come later with Afghan.
Okay.
You know, be careful what you wish for. The old mantra.
Yeah.
That's sort of true.
So you come back from Iraq.
Yeah.
Let's check the list just to see where we're at.
Where we were. That's O3, wasn't it? Iraq O3. Yeah, I think I then went on a patrols carder.
What's that?
I wanted to go patrols platoon. So like we've got our snipers and our patrols and our signals all in one company, which is called our patrols company.
Okay.
And that's Free Power specific. I think it's a holdover from the Malaya campaign, where we had a patrols company. So our patrols company is our D company.
Right, okay.
And so I wanted to go patrols, because patrols is where the sharper end of the soldiering goes. Like, when you pass out and you get to battalion, generally speaking, you're at a rifle company. So you're a Tom in a rifle company, and, you know, you'll do a bit of time, you'll learn the GPMG, you'll be the radio op or something. And then once you've been in a while, you might then go to support company, where you're more of a senior Tom and you get given a little bit more respect and a bit more leeway. A rifle company's generally a bit more bullshitty. Yeah, because you're still young soldiers. But in patrols, like, you get given a lot more leeway. You can wear brown boots instead of black boots. You could do so. You get away with a bit more. There's a bit more leeway. You're treated with a bit more respect, but you've got to be a bit more professional. So that's where I wanted to aim at going, as patrols platoon, with the aim of maybe going snipers. You know. Okay.
Is that because you saw people be snipers?
Well, we were getting ready for an exercise once, and I saw these guys out on MT measuring the fucking length of vehicles and stuff, and measuring the width of tyres and the license plates and things. And I was like, I said to one of the guys, I was like, what the fuck are MT doing? Why are they measuring Land Rovers? And he's like, that's not MT. So that's snipers. Like, what the fuck are snipers doing? And he goes, I don't know, fucking ask them. They're fucking weird. So I asked one of them, and he was like, well, what we do is we have to know the known heights of objects as data, so that when we're spotting targets, we can take the known height of an object, times it by 1,000, and divide it over the number of mils that we measure in our binos, and that'll give us an accurate distance to it without using laser rangefinders. And so what they do is measure the gap between the road wheels of the Land Rover, so that if they can see a target near a road track, they can measure the distance in the mils of the binos, the road track, the distance between the wheels, and calculate how far away it is. And I thought, that's so fucking nerdy. That is awesome.
That's
I was
cool.
like, and that was it then. I was like, that's what I want to do.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. So you go on, what's the patrol course you said?
Patrols course, it was
yeah.
up in Scotland, and you basically get beasted across like the Scottish hills.
So you're literally out patrolling?
No.
No?
The
Okay.
patrols is... So there was like recce, which was mainly in vehicles. They maintained the WMICs and stuff, and patrols were mostly on foot.
Okay.
So lots of tabbing.
Okay.
And you had steerable parachutes as well, I think, with patrols. Yeah. But you'd have to... that was it. So you go on like a patrols car. The patrols car is basically an AVEX, go from point A to point B, and every checkpoint is the spot height of the next fucking mountain.
Right.
That's just like, and I just remember one of them like climbing hands and knees on rocks to get to the checkpoint. So it's a bit of a beast, but that was sort of like, it seemed to be a logical progression towards selection to do patrols, to do snipers and all that, because of the physical demands and the more sort of autonomy you get to operate as well. Like, you're in a smaller team operating independent. You're not getting watched over all the time by officers and things,
And at this point, you've got that mindset of special forces.
Yeah.
That's in your mindset.
That was still the grand
That's
plan,
still the grand
yeah.
plan. Okay, cool. So you come back from there. So what's next after that?
Yeah, so patrols. And then a sniper's course was 2004. So that was a year later.
Okay. What did you think of that?
I loved it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I really loved it. Yeah, I felt like I got a bit of vindication as well, because the course instructor was a Marine Colour Sergeant. Because they always, for guards and paras, the people that run the course are always Marines. Because the Marines have an affiliation with sniping going back from like World War I, World War II. Basically, whenever a big war happened, we'd have to relearn how to snipe. And the Marines always carried that skill from one war to the next, the Marine Scout Sniper, it's a thing. And so they've got they've got more
history,
more history behind it, and it's more of a tradition with them. So the course instructor was a Marine, and he was one of my full screws from when I was joined the Marine Depot.
Oh,
and so,
okay.
Yeah.
Did he recognise you?
Yeah, he recognised me, and I got top student
and
everything, and he was like, oh, wow, we shouldn't have got rid of you and all that sort of stuff. And I felt a bit more vindicated then. I was like, yeah.
Okay, good.
Because he was a good full screw as well.
Yeah.
He was very...
That's
cool.
cool.
I really like the guy. Yeah.
How long was the sniper's course? Can you remember roughly?
I think it's like 12 weeks, but like 9 weeks of that is in the field. So it's like mostly in the field.
Because most of us that haven't done any investigation or looking into snipers, on the outside, we just see, one, that you're a good shot, two, you dress up in ghillie suits, and three, you're out of sight, but you're watching. That's the
yeah,
gist
the third one's probably true.
Yeah.
The first one, anyone can learn how to shoot, given enough tutelage.
Yeah.
Like, that's the easy bit. Shooting is the easy bit.
Okay.
And the ghillie suit thing, we had a saying, veg has the edge. So a lot of our ghillie suits wouldn't have that much ghillie on. It would be mostly elastics.
Oh, so you can add the stuff.
Because, yeah, if anyone's trying to spot you, if someone's got like a really thick ghillie suit, you'll just see a ghillie suit.
Okay.
You know?
It would just stand out like a sore thumb, yeah.
Like an observer will see ghillie. Because at a glance, you won't see them. But when you're trying to spot a sniper, you'll see a ghillie. And when you're doing your shoots and your cam and cons and your stalking, you'll get pinged if you've got too much ghillie. So therefore, you have more elastics, so you can put more local vegetation in.
Right.
So you're less chance of being seen.
And then the last part that I said was out of sight, but you're watching us.
Yeah.
So what did you think of that part when you maybe were getting trained on how to stay out of sight, I suppose?
Oh, I loved it. It's like being a kid again, crawling around, sneaking up on people and stuff. It's just fun. You know, it is a graft. Like, it is. I remember like doing, we were digging in OPs, and we were all night digging in OPs, and the next day we were doing lessons and stuff. And I was falling asleep while stood up. and it was the act of falling forwards, the motion of falling forwards that would wake me up, and I'd stagger, and I'd stand there and I'd listen again, and then I'd go, and I was exhausted, literally falling asleep, stood up. Yeah, utterly exhausted, and then doing all that stuff, and I'm writing a patrol report and all that. Yes, just, but it was fun.
Yeah,
it was really fun. Yeah.
And did you enjoy the technical side, like that guy was telling you about the working out stuff? And
yeah, you have like a calculator taped to the butt of your rifle, and your graph of, so you've got all your clicks for different ranges, but then you'll know your accuracy of what you can hit at that range, so that you then highlight what range you can accurately get a first round hit. So you only have to glance at the butt of your rifle to see, right, okay, I can take this shot with one round and then get out, rather than having to.
Yeah.
It's just, it's so nerdy, but I loved it.
Yeah, it is cool. I what you guys do, I think, is vital for pretty much any task that we might take on.
Yeah, they're a good asset, but they're not normally used right. Like when you're on exercise, a lot of the commanders are just, put snipers up on the hill with their 50s. And it's like, okay, I'm going to spot my swirl with a 50 cal going off next to me, am I? Like they just see you as like a slow machine gun. They'll just put you on a high feature and say, do your thing. And it's like, no, that's not how. Like we could have done with putting officers through a sniper employment course to get them, because there's no officers in snipers. Our platoon commander is a colour sergeant.
Okay. So
you don't get any representation in the mess.
Okay.
So your career is not as good as if it was.
Yeah.
Like when they decide stuff in a mess, they just get overlooked all the time because you don't have any representation, but with officers. So it's sort of good and bad,
Yeah. Like you say, if they did a bit of a course, didn't do the full course, but just maybe an understanding of
maybe. I mean, they probably do now.
Maybe they do.
We might have officers as snipers. I don't know, but we'll see.
So when you went back, did you feel proud that you had become a sniper?
And I got top sniper as well.
Cool.
So that I felt vindicated. And
good.
I loved it.
Went back to detachment. Detachment. I see.
Yeah, it's because we're now. Yeah.
went back to
battalion.
Battalion, and you felt good.
Yeah, I did.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what was next? Like, was you heading somewhere with that?
That was that, and then I was going to do drilling duties after that, which is our promotional course for Lance Jack.
Okay.
Yeah, our drilling duties. But I did that after the next Iraq tour, I think. Yeah, I can't remember. We did either Iraq or Northern Ireland after that. There's a second tour of Northern Ireland. And then we did another tour of Iraq.
Okay. Was you going out there as a sniper? I was
a sniper this time, yeah. But because I wasn't needed as a... No, I was needed as a sniper. Yeah, I was out there as a sniper. I had 338.
Out in Iraq?
Out in Iraq for the second time, yeah. In 2005, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we were backfilling for the Anglians.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you find that tour?
That was great. Yeah, that was when I was with Hugh. We'd go out and do just do OPs out in the middle of nowhere. So we were setting up like OPs along the Iranian border, trying to spot lethal aid coming in for the insurgencies and interdict stuff. That was good. Yeah, it was really good being completely independent. It was just Hugh Keir as a full screw in charge of everything.
Okay.
Basically, so we had
another sniper.
Yeah, another sniper. We were a sniper pair. He's a sniper commander, but we had extra bodies, and we'd go out and we'd put OPs out in the middle of nowhere, driving in a desert with no lights and stuff.
Cool.
For hours on end, and then just set up. Yeah, that was really good. Yeah.
Is there a stand-up moment from that, or is it?
Yeah, we did speedboat operations. We were out in the Rigid Raiders, going across the River Tigris, I think River Tigris or the Shuttle Arab. I can't remember which. And we were trying to interdict stuff there, and that was brilliant because it was so hot. And then we were out on the river, going along in a speedboat, getting the wet spray. It was lovely. And we stopped off somewhere, and it was just absolute paradise. It was like all green and a nice fresh water pool and everything. And we just got off. We put one person on stag, and we always went swimming because there's just nobody for miles and miles and miles around. There's nothing, and it was just like a tiny little part of tropical paradise in the middle of nowhere. That was great. And then we went somewhere in the boats, and basically we went into this big field. Well, what was a field? But during the Iran-Iraq war, Saddam Hussein had flooded this field, completely submerged it in crystal clear water. And then we're driving along in a boat, And then just underneath the water that you could see through perfectly was loads and loads of Soviet era tanks and armored cars and like BTRMs and, you know, all these different Soviet era vehicles, all just under the water. And you could just stand there and you could spot all the different types of tank and the T-54, 55s and, you know, and it was, you know, we had to be careful with the boat because it could get... But that was weird. It's like so surreal.
I bet.
You know?
Yeah, yeah.
And there's also a photo of me posing out in front of a minefield as well, ironically. Yeah. I can't find that one though. Yeah.
Well, if you find it before this...
In the business, we call that foreshadowing.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad you got to use your skill as a sniper out in Iraq.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
That was good. Yeah, I enjoyed that tour.
That's good.
Yeah, so that was 2005. And then a little bit after that, we did an exchange trip to Italy with the Italians?
With the
Folgore. Yeah, the Italian paracadutisti.
Say that again?
The Folgore.
Folgore.
They've got 2 battalions, or they were 2 divisions in World War II. Folgore and I think Nimbus. One is lightning and one is thunder. One's thunder and one's lightning.
What are they equivalent to?
They're like
paras or?
Yeah, but they're the paras.
They are the paras.
But their battalions have names because they're Italian and they're artistic, aren't they? You know?
Yeah, sure.
It's a bit like 101st Airborne, 82nd Airborne. The Americans, they've got Nimbus and Folgore.
Got it.
They only have Folgore now because there's cutbacks and everything, but they used to be 2 different divisions. And when the Italians changed sides during World War II, one side stayed loyal to Hitler and one side joined the Allies.
Oh.
And both divisions fought each other, basically.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what was it like going out there?
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
That was great.
Which part of Italy?
That was in Livorno, in sort of towards the south. Yeah, Livorno was where they were based, but we did some training in another part as well. I can't quite remember the names of the places, but basically with the Italian trip, we jumped into Italy. That's how we got there.
Did you?
Yeah. We did no passports, nothing like that. We packed stuff in containers and we got onto the Herc in Bryce Norton or South Surney or wherever it was. And we just flew over. And the first time I saw Italian soil was at 1,000 foot under a canopy.
Wow.
Yeah, that was mega.
I bet that was cool.
That was so cool, yeah. But the field that we jumped into, the local troops use it as a knock-in shop with prostitutes and that. Right. And a couple of guys landed on condoms. Used condoms. Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, go for him.
That's pretty cool that
was brilliant, yeah.
You got to jump in. Yeah, that's pretty sweet actually. Yeah,
it was alley as fuck.
How long was you there for?
Again, about 3 weeks maybe.
About 3 weeks, yeah.
To a month, yeah.
And
a little bit of time off.
Doing training with them?
Just doing their training. It was a piece of piss. Yeah, it was really easy. We had, their basic training seemed very easy and everything compared to ours.
Okay.
But they were so nice and so welcoming. And that when I got to my accommodation initially, there was a locker open. I went in and it had a bottle of wine left there and a little cardboard thing of St. Michael, Saint Michel, because he's a patron saint of airborne forces, St. Michael.
Okay. And
it had a little note in broken English saying, "Enjoy yourself, airborne brother," or something like that, with a bottle of wine. I was like, fucking hell. They're awesome.
Nice.
They're so nice. And they all paint massive murals on their wall as well in their accommodation. But all their battle honours are like the battle honours that are opposite to ours because they were Axis.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's kind of weird.
Yeah. Another good experience though, right?
Oh, brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah. But because we were there with kind of like patrols platoon, so we were doing that sort of role. But because the platoon commander was getting ready for selection, we were all getting ready for selection. So like everything was like, right, what we're going to do is when we put in this attack, we're going to run 3 miles with Bergens, ditch Bergens, do the attack. Then we're going to extract 8 miles. Everything was just running around with Bergens. It was a lick.
Yeah.
But it was still good fun. It was brilliant.
But I'm guessing your mindset is like, well, I want to go SF, so this is perfect. This is good training.
So, yeah. We were going, me and my sniper pair at the time, we were given like Mausers on exercise.
What's Mauser?
Like an old-fashioned World War II German sniper rifle.
Okay.
You know, they use that for exercise, but then they fire with their 338s like we do. Okay. But they used the Finnish Sako, which was way better than our Lapua mag, I reckon anyway.
Okay.
Way lighter. So we did exercise. We went out. We had these Mausers and we were doing like CTRs, close target recce's. And I was into this habit of taking a photo through my scope with my camera and then using that later on to point out positions and do sketch maps, slow time. I was doing that. And every time I took a photo, there was like, the Italians would just be like, because they were playing enemy. So it gave you an extra burst of adrenaline because they weren't speaking English. And it wasn't your mate from fucking MT down there with a softy jacket on and a woolly cap pretending to be enemy. These were foreign soldiers. So it added an element of realism to it. And every time I took this photo, they all sort of reacted. And my mate was like, "Have you got the flash on that camera?" I was like, "Don't be fucking stupid, mate. Of course I am." And every time I took a photo, they all started to like notice my direction. They all fanned out and got an extended line coming forwards. And it was only me and one other guy. He had a rifle and I had a bolt action. And so we had to fucking Paris fire maneuver and got bumped. And, and every time we broke contact and rallied and ran off, they'd come again and they had helicopters and everything. And we were just getting bounced all over the Tuscany countryside, up and down these hills, blowing out. And yeah, when I looked at the camera after, it was like all the trees nearby were bright white. So I was like, fuck. And he's never let me forget that.
Oh, fair.
Yeah.
At this point, are you a Lance Corporal? Had you been promoted?
I don't know. I might have been. I think so.
Because you said you went on that course.
I went on D&Ds, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I passed D&Ds. I didn't promote straight away because I didn't get a distinction overall. I got a distinction on a drill phase. And I would have got a distinction overall, but I fucked up on a map reading question. And I didn't score HPS on map reading, which is dumb because I'm really good with my map reading. And it was kicking myself.
Mm.
Yeah, but D&Ds was good.
Okay. But by that time, you may have been a Lance
I think
Corporal.
I was, actually. I think I was a Lance Jack by then, yeah.
Okay.